You just put a lot of money into his company. And how much of this is a bet that manufacturing fundamentally is going to change? These guys do it. BMW is a client, right?
And a customer.
And a customer.
And an investor. Ford.
Ford.
As well.
Is the future of metals effectively all 3D printing? And how does that change, by the way, we're having a big fight about tariffs and everything else, sort of how we think about manufacturing in America?
Well, we believe that there's significant potential in additive manufacturing. One, because it transformed the way things are made, whether it's plastics, polymers, or metal products. It's transformational in that it removes a lot of the waste from the making of products. And also, if you think about the cost of the technology as well, it's dropping the cost. So it's getting more and more of these the products and technology in people's hands. And the thing that's exciting about it is it applies to almost any market: agriculture, medical products, medical devices, and electronics as well.
What do you have something there made by a 3D printer?
So this is after we met Ric and his team. Koch Industries wanted to really experiment.
Pick it up higher so the camera can see it.
Yeah, so this is an atomizer, and I'm not an engineer,
Here,
don't ask me to explain the details of it.
It's pretty heavy.
But what this is a product made by John Zink out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, a Koch company. And that company focuses on pollution control products and also high efficiency products. And so this is an atomizer that goes into an LNG fuel tanker to drive fuel efficiency. And the cool thing about this is it can only be made with additive manufacturing, and it can't be made by traditional metal processes due to the complexity of that product.
Ric, you've now raised close to $500 million.
Yeah.
The speculation is that the company is valued around at $1.5 billion.
Sure.
You're going to go public soon?
Well, we're focused on making customers successful right now. So,
But this thing's been great. I mean, we saw you, I think, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this has been a bit of a.
It's been a great ride, and it's growing. We now have 7 of the top 10 car makers in the process of adopting our technology, and huge adoption in consumer electronics and in other industries for mass production.
What is it on, just in terms of the car manufacturing process, what does it do to, are the manufacturers themselves going to start using this instead of buying parts from other companies? Is that how this works? Or
so there are a few things.
Who are the winners and losers as a function of all this?
I think the winners are the consumers who are going to get products that are better. But today, in a car, you have about 200 kilograms, depending on the car, between 200 and 300 kilograms of cast parts. And those will be cheaper to produce with our new mass production processes using additive. And you won't need tooling. And so you can mass customize them to different markets, and then you can take 10 or 15 parts, print them as a single component, and then use generative design, which is driven by AI, to really lightweight the part and do,
And how does this change the debate around tariffs and manufacturing and questions about whether we should be, or whether companies are going to want to manufacture in Mexico or Canada or China or elsewhere?
Well, if you think of first industrial revolution, it was really about tooling, creating economies of scale, and that created locations with better cost structure that then led to global trade. And with additive, you can put the manufacturing site anywhere, and you send your files digitally. You don't go through customs. You print locally, and you mass customize your product. So it's a huge turbocharger for global trade. And I think the winner is going to be the companies that own the designs. So in this case, the car maker will have better operational efficiency.
How much of this is about being an investor as opposed to being a customer for you guys?
Yeah, we're excited about the investment. Number one, Ric and his team were very impressed. We like to invest in principled entrepreneurs, and we saw that across the board on his team and across Desktop Metal. So we're excited about the investment, but we're also looking at technologies that are disruptive to Koch Industries or transformative. We believe this is highly transformative to the way we might make things. The atomizer is a good example of that. So we're already exploring. We've bought a couple units just to get going, and we've got a lot of the Koch companies in front of Ric and his team right now.
Where do you stand? You're often talked about as the heir apparent within the Koch network. Where does Koch Disruptive Enterprises sit within the larger frame?
Yeah, it's just one more business within Koch Industries. We have 10 business units that touch the majority of the economy, everything from wood products to energy, electronics. We're in a number of different industries. This is a new business that we started just over a year ago to focus on finding and investing in the most disruptive and transformative companies around the world.
You're based in Wichita.
In Wichita, Kansas.
Not in Washington.
No, I'm not.
Why not?
Well, Wichita's home for me, and born and raised there. And we also like recruiting talent in the Midwest in Wichita, Kansas. So that's headquarters.
Shockers fan?
I'm a huge Shockers fan.
So am I.
Absolutely.
Love that coach.
Absolutely. He's a great coach.
Let me ask you about this. Politico wrote a story about you last month, or actually at the end of last year, with the headline, "The next Koch doesn't like politics." You don't like politics?
Well,
where are you relative to your father?
That may have been taken a little out of context, but here's what I'd say on that. The Koch network and what we're focused on, and what my father's been focused on really for 40 or 50 years, is how do we improve as many people's lives as possible. That's why that network came together. Other people that are also engaged in that,
right,
to figure out, okay, how do you break barriers across education, communities, policy as well, to unlock people's potential. And so criminal justice reform, which is the First Step Act, just went through recently. That's a great example of our approach to politics. We think about what really works is having broad coalitions. So we're uniting with anyone to do right on this. And if you look at criminal justice reform, we worked with the Obama administration on this, the Trump administration, Van Jones, who used to not be a big fan of our network.
Right.
We've come together and really worked on this to get this first win on the first step, and working further on criminal justice reform in communities, and when people get out of the system, how do they get a job? Those sort of things. So
Van Jones is now part of the Meek.
Yes, he's part
of Kraft. I think he's
absolutely
CEO of that. Yeah.
So we think that works a lot better than partisanship and bickering over that. So we have a focus on uniting with anyone on anything to do good.
It's a tough row to hoe in these political times.
It is.
Finding people who can work across aisles.
Absolutely.
How do you do it?
But we feel if we get a win like we did on criminal justice reform, that creates other opportunities and other wins as well. So we're excited about the potential of that.
He's a little too modest. The Shockers play in Koch Arena.
They do. They do.
Pretty cool.
And I'm a big fan.
Yeah. No, you could go watch them in your arena. Hey, come on, guys, play here.
Okay, before we go, Rick, what's the coolest next thing that's going to get created by 3D printing that we would never have imagined?
Oh my God! So we make machine that's right now 100 times faster than the previous generation. So for the first time, you can go to market in mass production, and we have everything from next generation phones that will be made with this technology to a lot of metal parts in phones to many OEMs, many car makers.
Is it ever going to be on the consumer level in a meaningful manner?
But not at that. I would think we're in metal. We're far from making metal in somebody's home because you have to go to high temperature. But in mass production, everything from power tools to consumer electronics to automotive, rail, aerospace, medical.
And I made the mention that maybe there'll be an IPO one day, but would an automotive company just try to buy you outright? Since that's where most of the business is right now?
Well, they really want to drive this technology not just for their own adoption, but also through the tier 1 and tier 2 networks. So I think, we are here to be doing this for the next 20 years. Right. We have a long-term focus on our. And that's one of the things we like also.
Come on back. Come on back.
Awesome.
Great conversation. Congratulations.